Middle of the Pack podcast.
My story resonated with one person, and they either, took a look at their drinking, or they started running, or, did something to help themselves, got therapy, whatever the case may be, that if it saved one life or helped one person, that was the sole goal, and it still is.
Welcome to episode 16 of the Middle of the Pack podcast, and that's Eamon Kearney, our guest this week, and he's joining me to talk all things running and how it got him through so much, but gave him so much joy along the journey. So we kick off this week's show where I've asked him about his job, and this is Eamon Kearney on episode 16 of the Middle of the Pack podcast.
I work for the largest real estate brokerage, online real estate brokerage in the United States. So I manage a team of agents pretty much. So.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, so I had a bunch of meetings this morning, so I'm pretty much done for the day. Just checking in on emails then, and
so
that's what it is.
So you're not quite a real life Phil Dunphy then?
Not at all, no. Not at all.
Yeah. You're the first overseas guest, although you are Irish, so, but, it's the first time.
I'm honoured to be the first overseas guest then. But I moved over here about 25 years ago, so half my life has been spent here at this point. So
you've just got a slight twang, but there's still a strong Irishness coming through. Like,
yeah, I definitely want to lose that before I go home in the summer, because I'd be ridiculed. So
yeah. So, nothing better than an Irish friend to tell you you've got an accent,
Oh yeah, they'll destroy me when I get home. But I still have a few Irish friends over here, but most of, like, when I'm working, it's a lot of Americans, and my wife's American, obviously my kids, but so I'm around a lot of American people.
So real estate agent, and you got into running under out there, or you were running at home back here? I mean,
so I ran originally. I joined the army when I was 18, and I did a bit of running prior to that. And I ran the Dublin Marathon in 94. And then I stopped running then completely. I just focused on soccer. And I played soccer till I was probably late 30s, early 40s. And then I led a sedentary lifestyle after that. Then I stopped running. Stopped playing soccer completely. Put on a ton of weight. And then I kind of got heavily involved, like, with drinking then as well. I was working in the bar industry at the time.
Yeah.
So I didn't do any form of exercise for about 8 years. And then at 47, I was just before I turned 47, I had a mild heart attack in my house one morning. And as I said, I was drinking a lot at the time. My wife was actually running the Boston Marathon in April. I had the heart attack in March. But I put on a lot of weight, and I knew my drinking was an issue at the time as well. So I needed to do something about it. So I got the inspiration from my wife running the Boston Marathon, and then I have a half brother I can tell you about in a second. Was running as well. So I stopped drinking in June of 2022, and they kind of encouraged me to kind of get back into running a little bit. So I did, and I signed up I did a 5K originally with my wife. She kind of was trying to get me to do a 5K, and I did that, and I ran it in like 34 minutes or something like that, something crazy.
Yeah.
And so then I signed up for a half marathon in November, and I did a training program then for that. So that was my first official race. It was like I had run Dublin 29 years before that. But other than that, like, I'd never run a 5K, I'd never run an official half marathon or anything like that. So I just took it from there, and I got a training plan, and I did the half in November. But it was fun.
It's amazing because, you were probably a little bit younger than me when you started back, but my first 5K was 34 minutes exactly, in and around then. And I was kind of going, and you have this steady progression, which is fabulous, and it's encouraging. And still, even now, having training programs, and I got a coach, the progression is still there, which is great, but I don't know how long I'm going to see PBs coming up, that has to come to a stage where it's going to stop, But
it does plateau, I think, at some point. But I read something originally when I started running was that it takes 7 years for you to build your aerobic capacity eventually and to reach your peak.
Okay.
It takes it about 7 years or whatever. So I'm kind of I set a goal. I set a 7 year goal after I heard that then of where I kind of wanted to be and break it down over the years of where I wanted to get to. But after I ran the half, I think the first half I ran was like 2 hours and 19 minutes or something. But it was one of the proudest moments I think that I had in a long, long time. I said to you, like I went through I struggled with my drinking and I gave it up in 2022. But at the end of 2021, I came very close to taking my own life in December. And I rented a hotel room in Burlington, Vermont with the intention of doing it. What happened that night is kind of a story for another day, but I ended up not doing it. I hiked the mountain the next day and then I came home, kind of focused on giving up my drink and or giving up drinking and stuff like that. But it was getting into running then has really, really helped me from a mental standpoint too, as well. It's really helped my mental health and helped me progress in life too, as well.
Yeah, it is amazing the amount of people that I interview. That we're on episode 16, but look, everyone has a kind of a. It got them through grief. It got them through addiction. It got them through. Do you know? It is amazing, and as we know, because we're running, but it does get you all of the the craziness that goes on in the mind, like just goes when you're out running. It's just you can either listen to a podcast or listen to yourself or listen to music, but it definitely just frees everything up, doesn't it? It makes everything a little bit clearer.
It's so true though. But it's just so good for your mental health. But like I have two young kids too as well. I have two girls that are 9 and 7, but it sets an example for them too as well. Even though I'm older, they see me going out for my run every day, or my wife runs. She goes to the gym a lot too as well. So it sets the stage for them. Like you don't need to tell them anything; they see you do it,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
monkey see, monkey do kind of thing or whatever. And to see you going out in all kinds of weather and all that as well, and then running races then as well. Like I ran this for my first marathon in that big long gap was in Chicago in 2023. After I did the half, I signed up for Chicago. I got a charity bid for that. And I started training for it. And like they see you go off to travel for a race and the emotion behind it, and my wife coming with me for the weekend. And I actually, so my half brother kind of got me into running too as well. I kind of connected with him about 5 years ago. I was adopted.
yeah,
I was born in Dublin, and I was adopted by a family in Athlone when I was about a year and a half old, and I grew up there. And then I found my birth mother just before I moved over here about 26 years ago. Made a connection with her, and we're still very much in contact in that. And then I found out I had on my dad's side I had a half brother and half sisters and other siblings. So I connected with my half brother on Facebook, believe it or not. And we started texting over and back. We never met. And then after, when I was giving up drinking and everything I had gone through with my mental health and all that, like, having conversations with him or whatever. And, he encouraged me to get into running. So when I told him I had signed up for the Chicago Marathon, he was a runner. He was running himself. And Eamon Kearney, believe it or not, is his second cousin. So, but I had signed up for that, and he was like, I'll qualify and I'll meet you in Chicago and run it together. So he flew in. We met the night before in a hotel, and then he ran the race at my pace. He's a sub 3 hour marathoner.
yeah.
So he ran the marathon at my pace with me, and just literally the last 8 miles, I hit the wall. I was really, really struggling. He literally dragged me through the last 8 miles. So it wasn't just emotional from a standpoint of running a marathon and accomplishing that after so long and everything that I had been through previously, but doing it with him made it that much more special and that much more emotional too as well. So it was just a fantastic experience overall, and it was just something that will live with me forever.
It, you're just telling me there. I ran Dublin, and my wife was supposed to do it, but she got injured, so she only ran half. That was the plan. It was always the plan. But when she left me at halfway, I got fierce emotional. Like I was running along and I was going, gee, but why? I'll see her in about an hour. But and you're telling me the story of running with your half brother, and that must have been just huge emotion from
It
start to finish,
was,
almost like.
it was unreal. Yeah, it was a great experience. And he came, he came here in April. He came to Boston, and I live about an hour and a half outside Boston.
Yeah.
So I got into the Boston Marathon in April. It was running for a charity as well. So he had qualified for Boston and he was running it. So we ran that, but he ran it obviously at his own time. This time he didn't run it with me. He was well ahead of me. He was actually sitting down having a burger, I think, when I was getting
Yeah.
close to finishing. But so he came and stayed in my house and met my kids for the first time, and we went to the start line and the runners corral and all that, and experienced the whole Boston Marathon together too as well, which is cool. So the goal this year or for next year for 2026 is we're planning on doing New York together. So we're trying to do all the majors if we can.
Oh,
He did
that's
Berlin.
brilliant.
He did Berlin this year, and I did Berlin in 2024. So we didn't do that one obviously together, but
Is that the six medals and do you qualify for that or is there a time scale for that?
um, I'm hoping to do it. Like I set myself a goal when I started running after I did Chicago. I set myself a goal of running. At the time it was five. I've changed that since, but I was going to try and run five marathons before I turned 60 and 40 halves. So the next marathon I do will be five. So I've upped that to 10 now before I turn 60 because I'm only 50. So
Oh, yeah. You'll do more than that.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I saw a lovely lady, Anna Riley, I think was her name, that ran the New York City Marathon last week. She's from Ireland and she's done 74 marathons or something like that. So
Yeah, yeah.
she's aiming for 100 now.
But you did the Marine Corps Marathon when I was doing Dublin. Is that right? More or less the
I
same
did.
weekend.
It's the same day actually.
Was
Same
it?
day. So it
Oh,
was, yeah. It was a wonderful experience. It was the 50th anniversary too, as well.
oh,
And
brilliant.
having been in the Irish Army for a while as well, I think one of the things that we would have looked up to back then, when I was young, would have been the Marine Corps. So doing that marathon it was a wonderful experience. I think I put it on TikTok recently. There was one portion of the race where it was mile 12 to 13, where it was pictures like placards of
Yeah,
Marines that had died when they were on active service. And that includes suicide too, as well. But you had a picture of them, their age of death and their date of death. And it's a silent mile. So they encourage you to kind of turn off your music or whatever it is for during that. And there's no spectators allowed during that mile.
yeah,
But then the next mile is the family members of all those fallen Marines that are holding American flags, and it was crazy. That was so emotional. Like I teared up, I cried
yeah,
going
yeah.
through that portion of it. Like, and you have all the parents high fiving you and giving you pats in the back, and get to the finish line, and it's just so inspiring to get there. And no matter, like, I know there's the political climate over here is kind of crazy at the moment, but I think leaving all that aside, I think it was still a very poignant moment.
Absolutely. I mean, going back to the emotion, it is a very emotional thing when you're running it. Even the crowds cheering and all that sort of stuff is just still emotional. But running with your half brother and then the Marine Corps families, those so I would definitely be like bawling. you know,
Yeah, it was crazy. I guess, but Dublin was the same for you as well, running with your wife.
it is an amazing marathon. There's no let up in the support, constant support, and yourself when they talk about the wall and talking about times when you struggle mentally. There's never a time where you feel like you're not being supported.
The support at all a lot of the major marathons too as well. I want to experience Dublin next year. I'd love to get, or 2027 would be the goal. If I don't get New York next year, I'll probably try and get Dublin. But it's
Well,
supposed to be a wonderful experience. It's grown so much though, Porrick, hasn't it? Like over
yeah, yeah.
running in general in Ireland has grown so
Well,
much. Like the
it's funny because the Belfast Marathon sold out more or less after the Dublin one finished, and then the Cork Marathon last year sold out in January, February, and they were delighted with that. But it's already sold out. It's already sold out last week, I think, and the half marathon's just completed. So marathons in general are just, well, running in general, as you say, is just so popular, which is great. And where do you do most of your training? I see your TikTok, you're on a road. Is it like you're on a highway, or is there a nice running trails, or you know where do you go to?
I don't. I run in town. Like I'm about an hour and a half outside Boston, so it's very rural.
Okay.
you'll have lots of farms and stuff around me, but it's narrow roads. Uh, There's no footpaths or anything to run on, or there's no median or anything like that either. It's just you kind of I wear bright colors. I'm in my luminous gear as much as I can, and then you have a diving spot when you're running. I pick just to make sure because cars come flying around corners and stuff like that. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's just a very rural area where I run. But as I said, if I'm running on a flat, I'll drive to the rail trail, but that's few and far between. Most of my runs are just I run out of the house, and I'm averaging probably 30 miles a week at the moment. So a long run on a Sunday and the rest of the, or a long run on a Saturday and the rest of the runs then are like 5 miles pretty much. I'll do a couple of sessions on the treadmill too.
And your handle is Irish Sober Strider. And do you then make contacts with a lot of people that have, gone from drinking to running, or uh, has it been rewarding in that sense, having that TikTok account?
It has, it has. It's been overwhelming to a certain extent because I've had so many people reaching out that either started running because they saw videos or whatever, or stopped drinking, or both.
Yeah,
Just from the videos, it's been insane. It's insane. Like I wouldn't like just what, just probably only about 2,000 people following along or whatever, which is still a crazy, crazy amount. And yeah, and I think that the thing with it was when I started out doing it, the only intention, and if you look back at any of my first videos, the only intention was to either help somebody that was going through a mental health crisis or struggling with your mental health or struggling with your drinking. And if my story resonated with one person and they either, took a look at their drinking or they started running or, did something to help themselves, got therapy, whatever the case may be, that if it saved one life or helped one person, that was the sole goal. And it still is to
yeah,
this day. Like I started like in December posting, but I've had so many people reach out and tell me that they were inspired or they saw one of my videos and they stopped drinking because of it or started running. And that's what it's all about. Like it's about nothing else.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, I suppose if you get people, if they start running and that becomes the addiction, for want of a better word, but it is a positive addiction in a way. It does transpire that in order to keep getting better, the, your lifestyle has to improve, your eating has to improve, your drinking either has to stop or, you know, and we found that ourselves just by striving to do better at running. So many things have to change, but you want it to change because you want to keep on running. Do you know, that's my handle. But then, but
yeah, yeah,
that is the goal. You have a keep it real, which is, I think, quite poignant as well because life throws enough. Actually, I was going to ask you to ask that story about the throwing a hammer, isn't it? The man with the hammer. I thought that was a good, is a recent post, but I thought it was quite a good one. About hitting the
yeah.
wall.
Yeah, I read that somewhere recently in Germany. Like in Ireland or in over here in America, we call it hitting the wall when you hit that. Your glycogen storage is deplete, and you hit the wall. Your legs you're gone. They're like cement or whatever, and they call it the man with the hammer. He's secretly hiding. It's
Yeah,
fucked
yeah,
up or whatever, but he's secretly hiding, waiting for your fuel sources to deplete, and he comes out and attacks you down at typically around mile 20 in the marathon.
yeah,
But it's a great analogy for life because things are going to happen in your life, and I think running is a great metaphor for that too as well because you're going to have somebody that's close to you that dies, a family member or a friend. You're going to lose a job. You're going to have unexpected things happen in your life, and I think running builds that resilience, not just for running, but for life too as well. And I think, the endorphins that you get from it and how you feel after it and pushing through when things are hard and all that stuff, it transcends to your life too as well. And it's a great life lesson, I think, running. It's
yeah,
taught
yeah,
me so much over the last few years. And, when things get hard, you can push through and you just don't give up and you don't quit. And it's funny because in the height of my drinking and at the time, I was really, really struggling. My wife was running the Boston Marathon at the time, and it was April 2022. And, we'd been through a lot, and I had put my family through a lot. And, you know, my wife had been through a lot too as well with it. And one of the things that she kind of her her whole mythology she was running, her mantra, sorry, is what I'm trying to say. Her mantra for running the marathon was that Kearney's don't quit. Like, that's her last name. And
Yeah.
she had written it on her arm. And, when she was going out to run the marathon that morning, like, my daughter was like, she was 6 at the time, 6 at the time. She's like, best of luck in the marathon, mom. Like, remember that Kearney's don't quit. And, like, it's that kind of stuff that pulls you through, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it really is, like, having a mantra or whatever it is, and not quitting. And that's a big part of running, and it's a big part of life. Like, no matter what happens, we have to keep moving forward, and be there for each other and support each other and help each other out as best you can. You talked about earlier the crowds pulling you through in a marathon, or a family member pulling you through. And it, that's what it's about in life too, as well. Like, you can call a friend when something goes wrong.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so supportive. Like, even the amount of people that reach out on TikTok, like, with advice or with tips or whatever, like, even that have their own little coaching businesses and stuff like that as well. Like, they'll still give you tips. They're not looking for business in a sense as well. It's the, you know, everybody's so supportive. Like, when I put it up, but initially I was running the Marine Corps Marathon, all the messages and the well wishes and all that stuff that you get, it's phenomenal. And the community itself, the people you meet along the way and the friendships that you build. I've made so many friends through running. There's a guy called Running Chad and his wife Natalie Marie and Donna, and a guy called Keith. They're all on TikTok as well. I met them a few weeks before the Marine Corps Marathon. I did a half marathon in Hartford, Connecticut, and Chad and his wife were there supporting. Donna and Keith ran it, and then, we all went for lunch afterwards. And then Donna grew up in New York. She was born in New York, but her parents are from Ireland. Like, her father's from Ballyman, and her mother's from Cavan. So we all went for lunch and we hung out and we got to know them. And now we're friends on Facebook, and we're running a race together next year. And I'm running 5K in a couple of weeks with Chad, like, and his wife. So that was just from meeting on TikTok, that we're going to meet up in person again, and go for breakfast afterwards. So it's fun. It's a great way of making friendships and relationships.
Yeah. So what are your short-term goals before you start getting back into to marathon blocks? Are you going for speed or just maintaining?
Just maintain it. At the moment, I'm running really, really easy. I want to just build a base. And one of the things that I didn't do enough of over the last year, because I had run Boston, same as yourself, like, ran 2 marathons in a year. So I didn't put a lot of focus into the base building, and I didn't put a lot of focus into strength. And
Yeah.
I really need to do more of that. And then I'll add speed in. I'm going to do about 6 weeks of that. And then I'm training for a half then in April. I have a half in April, I have a half in May, I have a half in June, and then hopefully New York, either that or Dublin, one or the other. I haven't told my wife about Dublin yet, because we're coming home in the summer for a couple of weeks in July with the kids. We're bringing them to Ireland for the first time. But so that they're kind of the goals. I kind of want to knock down my times. Like, I know we didn't really talk about times or anything like that, but when I did Chicago, I did it in 4:33. And then I'm trying to knock a bit off each time. So I'm trying to get under 4 hours next year, hopefully under 350 if I can. That's the goal. So I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight, eat healthier, and focus on strength. It's funny because my wife's an occupational therapist. Go back to the strength portion of it, but when she ran Boston in 2022, she did it in 3:56. So she was a former professional ballet dancer.
Okay.
She stopped dancing when she was, I think it was 21. She got rheumatoid arthritis in her spine and she couldn't dance anymore. So she became an occupational therapist. She went back to college or whatever. And she's run for 20 something years, but had done a ton of half marathons and all that. And then took on the marathon challenge with Boston. But her best friend that she danced is a former ballet dancer as well, that she danced with back 25 years ago. She ran Boston the year after, and Megan had got the sub 4. And her friend Abby was going for it then as well. She was going for the sub 4, and she ended up running it in 4 hours, 16 seconds. She was, and her whole goal was sub 4,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
16 seconds. So a minute or 16 seconds, it's like, Okay, I know the mental component of that is tough. But what marathon are you going to do next year? You said you had one planned for
It's
2026.
we're going to do Dublin again because my wife didn't finish it because of injury, but like that was planned. So we just said we'll do it, and it was because it was so good. So the ballot is open now. If you're semi thinking of 2026, you should probably apply anyway. And obviously, as this goes out, that's a week ago, so it'll probably be closed. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. I
it
think I will actually.
well, yeah, I mean, and there's a transfer window and a refund window. So if you decide that there's something else has come up, then you don't have to do it. But it's always good to have it as an option, you know.
No, absolutely. It all depends. That's it. It'll all depend on if I get into New York or not. And I'll know mid-January if I get into New York. So if I should go in for the ballot. You can sell your babe too as well, right? Is that
Yeah,
if you?
there's a transfer window, yeah, that you can
Oh,
transfer.
excellent.
Yeah, all and that's all above board. Then it's not someone else running on your number or anything like that. But you might want to tell your wife in case she listens to the podcast and you're talking about visiting Ireland next year, and you end up
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Dublin.
I'll keep a secret for a while.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
my brother wants to do it in 2027. That was the goal initially. Like he lives in Canada, so plan on going home together in 2027 and running it. But he's doing New York. He's qualified for New York for next year. So if I get a charity bib, I should know mid-January. If I get that, then I'll know I'm doing it or whatever. So we'll be doing that together. If not, then I could do a Dublin a year ahead of him. I'd
yeah.
still do Dublin in 2027 with him as well. Like if I could.
Yeah, you might as well throw in another roller coaster of emotion and come back to Ireland and do finish together.
Yeah, yeah, which would be nuts too as well. It's funny too because my biological father doesn't know that we're in contact, so that's still kind of.
So
uh,
you've met your mother, but you haven't met your father, no?
I haven't met him. No, no, that's a long story. But I did meet my mother before I came over. I went to an adoption agency and found her 26 years ago. It's funny too because she was dating a guy at the time. She didn't have any kids. She had to give me up for adoption. It was 1975, good old Catholic Ireland, where a single mother was shut in the
Yeah, yeah,
pond. So she gave me up for adoption. I went through the mother and baby's homes or whatever. But I met her through the agency, and it was a strange process too, as well, because you have to initially they let you write letters to her, and she would write letters to me. So we did that for about a year and a half, 2 years before we were actually allowed to meet in person or anything. So we finally got to meet in person, and she'd be dating this guy for about 17 years, and he wanted to get married, and she said she would get married when she found me, and I could be at her
oh,
wedding. So I ended up giving her away at her wedding, believe it or not.
you're a big one for emotion, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah. It's all good.
So it is interesting when you said you did your half marathon, and that was one of the like I remember doing Cork half marathon first and turning to my wife afterwards and just going, that was my greatest sporting achievement. Now I would think the marathon has probably gazumped that a little bit, but I think the feeling of doing nothing for so long and then completing a half marathon was like a major experience. And, your life seems to be full of that as well, which is just brilliant and inspirational.
It is, but the half, I think, because I hadn't run and probably, I obviously I played soccer or whatever, but because of not doing anything for probably 8 years, I'd lost about 35 pounds as well. Like I put on a lot of weight. I got sober in June of that year, and the half it was the first week in November. So I think with all of everything that happened before and then crossing the finish line of the half, I just started crying. Like my wife and the two girls were there. They're holding signs, and you'll see a couple of times during the race or whatever. And it's not that you hear some people, some marathon runners will say it's only a half, but to train and it's even a 5K, it doesn't matter. Like to couch to 5K to get from doing nothing to maybe losing weight or to crossing the finish line of a 5K. It's still it's a fantastic achievement, and Yeah, I was over the moon. I was absolutely over the moon, and that sets the stage then for it became addicting. Then after that, it's one. So I swapped one addiction for another, but as you said earlier, it's a healthier one,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
and I absolutely love it. Like I live for it now, and it's the best. It's a great habit to have.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, you can't really add any more to that. It's a great habit to have. And like, even when you messaged me first, just telling me your brother's story, I was going like that's an emotional roller coaster where you're talking about coming through drinking, coming through, thinking about taking your life, meeting your brother, running races with your brother, completing half marathons, and just completing those races themselves is an emotional roller coaster. But the journey that you've come on is just amazing and so inspirational,
Oh, thank you, Mark. Yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun, and but you put in the work and you give it your best shot, and I think
Ab-
that's what it's all about, really, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good place to finish.
Absolutely.
It's been a real pleasure. Even following your account was inspirational enough, but meeting you now over Zoom, obviously, and talking to you is just brilliant. And I'm glad you reached out. So thanks very much.
Yeah, and thanks very much for having me. I appreciate it, and hopefully, when I get back next year, we're going home for 2 weeks in July, so hopefully, I get to run a race in Ireland and get to meet a lot of the people that I've been connected with on TikTok too as well. So
Dude, yeah, keep
that would be a dream come true.
yeah, keep in touch for sure.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Park. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Eamon. See you soon. Keep it real.
I'll do my best.
Yeah. Thank you. That's Eamon Kearney, this week's guest on episode 16 of the Middle of the Pack podcast, and thanks to him for such an amazing, inspirational story. I do hope you enjoyed that. So yeah, you can follow us on all the social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and obviously like and subscribe this podcast on all your favorite podcast platforms. But I hope you enjoyed it, as I said. And for this week, thanks for listening and keep on running.